In this video, I'm going to show you how can you capture approvals through item-based reviews in your workflow. I'm going to show you how can you extend the workflow configuration with item-based reviews, and I'm going to show you how can you use the related filter to create reports or views. I'm already in Intland Retina's workspace browser. In this demonstration, I'm going to use Intland Software's required management template. You can take advantage of the pre-configured workspace lifecycle and workflows by using a template such as this one, but of course you can extend and configure any available workspace template to tailor them to your own needs. Item-based reviews are an excellent way to extend your tracker workflow with an approval process. Not only you can capture the outcome of this process, an approval or rejection, but you can also capture 21 CFR Part 11 compliant e-signatures in the workflow. Let's see how the configuration works. I'm going to extend my system requirements trackers workflow with the item-based review. So to do this, I'm going to go to the Tracker Configurations State Transition tab. In the configuration, by extending the workflow diagram and by taking a look into the configuration itself, you can see that we do not have any actions in this workflow yet. And I'm going to have to add a start a new review action to the draft to waiting for approval state transition, because that's when we start the item-based review on the item. So I'm gonna click on the name of the state transition, and under actions I will have to select start a new review. First I'm going to have to specify the reviewers. This can be a hard-coded value, a specific user or users, or user roles. So I can select one of my colleagues from here, and I can also select, for example, the quality assurance role. And this means that anytime a new review is started, the specified user and anyone who is member of the quality assurance role in this workspace will be defined as reviewers for that specific work item. We can handle the reviewers a little bit more dynamically by defining the reviewers through the content of a participant type of field. These are the fields that we have existing in this tracker configuration. I'm going to use the assigned to field in this case. We can of course add more rules to add new reviewers, or to remove them or retain them. I'm gonna leave it as it is for now. In the review, we can specify how do we want to capture the signature. It is important to capture username and password, since I want to capture an FDA compliant e-signature in this workflow. I can also save the user's role along with the review. And the last step in the configuration is to define what should be the outcome of the review, since the benefit of the item-based review is that once every reviewer has voted, the state transition based on the configuration that we have here will be triggered automatically by the system. So for approved items, I want to select the accepted status as a target status, and for rejected items, I will select draft. These are the statuses that are available as a next step basically in the workflow from the waiting for approval status. If you want to configure or make available, for example, a rejected state here, then you will have to define a state transition pointing from the waiting for approval to the rejected status. You can also define how many rejection votes will mean that the item is rejected. In this case, even one vote that says the item is rejected will render this item or the specific item as rejected, and it will send the item back to a draft status. So I'm gonna hit OK now. Again, I'm gonna hit OK here. You can see that under the actions, we see the thumbs up icon. This means that we have the start a new review action defined here. And as a last step, I will have to save my configuration. And now I'm going to be able to leverage the item-based review in the system requirement specification tracker. So let's see how it works. First, I'm going to have to assign myself to this item, since that's gonna define the reviewer. Gonna do that here, first in the detail view, but I can also use the mass edit option to define assignees. So I'm gonna do this for the other two items. And once I have the assignee specified, I will trigger the approve state transition, sending the item to waiting for approval. And one thing you can notice immediately, this thumbs up icon means that the item is now under review. And as a next step in the state transition, I would have to review this item. As you can see, I will review this item as a project admin. I cannot click on approve or reject because I haven't entered my username and password yet. So I'm gonna do that now. As soon as I've entered my username and password, as you can see, I can approve or reject the item. So I'm gonna say this item has been approved. And immediately after I hit approve, the state transition from waiting for approval to accepted has been triggered, and now the item is an accepted status because I was the only approver in this review, meaning that one single approval was enough to accept this item. In this example, we are working only with a handful of items. In a real-life scenario, you might have hundreds of work items under review at the same time. For such cases, it might make sense to create reports or custom views for items under review. And for this reason, we have a filter in Intland Retina where we can filter on items where the item hasn't participated in a review, where there is a pending review, where is a decided review, and we can also filter based on the reviewers. These are the workspace members. So I'm going to create a filter where I'm listing all the pending reviews where I'm a reviewer. I'm going to save this view now as item-based reviews assigned to me. I'm not going to make this one public. But if I hit go now, I won't see any items because the only item that was under review has been reviewed already. So I'm going to trigger the state transition for the other two items where I have assigned myself to the item. Now the review is in progress, as you can see. And by going back to my view, here are the two items that are under review, and I have to review the items.